Hi, my name is Jay Skaka, and this is Assessment 2 video portion for Problem 1. Alright, so the first one is asking what is the derivative of ax to the negative 7 plus arc sine of x to the third plus the natural log of x to the 2/3. So what I started off by doing is I isolated each term because it's only separated by plus signs, so we're able to isolate each one of the terms. Ax to the negative 7, we could start off with that, and that's going to be the power rule. And what is the power rule? We already know the power rule is a term with x to something. X is being raised to something. So what do? You bring b to the front and you multiply b times a. Leave x as it is, and then you subtract b by 1. So in this case, we would bring negative 7 to the front, multiply it by 8, keep the x there, and then negative 7 minus 1. And then you get negative 56 x to the negative 8. So that's it for this term. Now we can move on to the next one. Which is sine negative 1 of x to the third. And what rules we're going to use here is the chain rule as well as the limit definition of arc sine. So, just a refresher on chain rule. Chain rule is if you have a function that's being raised to a power, you pull out the n to the front, you keep f of x as it is, n minus 1, and then you multiply it by the derivative of the inside. And then the limit definition for arc sine is 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared. So to start off this one, we can pull the 3 to the front. So we'll have 3, then you leave the inside as it is, arc sine of x, and then 3 minus 1 right here, so that would be 2. And then we have to multiply this by the derivative of the inside, which was already shown right here. And since x isn't being raised to anything, it's just the definition. And then we could simplify this further because this is a numerator and this has a denominator. So if you multiply it, you'd be left with 3 arc sine of x squared over the square root of 1 minus x squared. But I'm going to circle this one because this is the unsimplified version. Now we can move on to the last part, which is the natural log of x to the 2/3. So we have ln x to the 2/3. And what rules are we using here? We're using sum chain rule and the natural log rule. And the natural log rule is just explained as 1 over x. So we could start off by doing 1 over the inside, which is x to the 2/3, and then we have to multiply it by the derivative of the inside, which is 2/3 x to the 2/3 minus 1, which is 3 over 3 in this case. And then we're left with 1 over x to the 2/3 times 2/3 x to the negative 1/3. So then, our final answer would be negative 56 x to the negative 8 plus 3 sine the negative 1 of x squared